Hey everyone, welcome back to the place where real stories unfold, emotions run deep, and truths come to light. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and stay with us, because today's story, it's one that might make you angry, might break your heart, and might even hit closer to home than you expect. Today's story is about family, trust, betrayal, and a decision that changed everything. It all started with a phone call. I wasn't expecting it. Was a random Tuesday afternoon when my phone rang. I remember because I was in the middle of work, half focused, half distracted, just trying to get through the day. When I saw the caller ID, I froze for a second. It was my mom's number now. That wouldn't sound strange to most people, but my mom wasn't the type to call randomly. She usually texted. Short messages. Simple check-ins. Did you eat? Call me when free. That kind of thing. But a call. In the middle of the day. I picked up immediately. Mom. There was a pause on the other end. Then I heard her voice. Small, shaky. Hi, Beta. Something was wrong. You know that feeling when your stomach drops before your brain even catches up? That's exactly what happened. Mom, what's going on? Are you okay? Another pause, and then she said something that didn't make sense. I think I'm not supposed to call you. I frowned. What do you mean? Who said that? She hesitated, and I could hear her breathing getting heavier. Your brother said. I shouldn't disturb you. That's when everything shifted. Let me take you back a bit so you understand the full picture. I'm the younger sibling. My older brother has always been complicated. Growing up, he was the golden child. The one everyone praised. The one who could do no wrong in my mom's eyes. I didn't resent it, at least not openly, but it was always there. He stayed close to home. I moved out for work. Built my own life in another city. I called. I visited when I could. I sent money whenever mom needed it. My brother. He lived with her. Rent-free. No job stability. No real responsibilities. Just there, and somehow, that became normal. Every time I brought it up, Mom would brush it off. He's trying. He just needs time. He's your brother. So I let it go. Until that phone call. Mom, I said carefully, why would he say that? You can call me anytime. She whispered, he gets upset. Upset about what? He says. You'll interfere. Interfere. That word didn't sit right. What's going on, Mom? I asked, my voice tightening, and then she said it. I'm not at home anymore. Silence. What do you mean you're not at home? I'm in a facility. My heart started pounding. What facility? A nursing home. I don't remember what I said right after that. I just remember standing up, knocking my chair over, and pacing like the ground beneath me had suddenly turned unstable. A nursing home. Since when? A few weeks. A few weeks. A few weeks. And no one told me. Why didn't you call me? Why didn't anyone tell me? I didn't think I could. That was it. That was the moment everything broke. Within hours, I was on a bus back to my hometown. I didn't pack properly. I didn't think clearly. I just needed answers. The entire ride, my mind kept racing. Why would my brother put her in a nursing home? Was she sick? Was she unsafe? Or was something else going on? When I finally got there, I didn't go home first. I went straight to the nursing facility. Walking into that place felt surreal. The smell of antiseptic, the quiet halls, the distant sound of televisions and slow conversations. This wasn't where my mom belonged. Not yet. Not like this. I went to the front desk and gave her name. The receptionist gave me a polite smile and directed me to her room. Every step down that hallway felt heavier than the last. When I reached the door, I hesitated. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared of what I'd see. But then I pushed it open. And there she was, sitting on a small bed, wearing a sweater I'd given her years ago, staring out the window like she was waiting for something, or someone. She turned, and the moment she saw me, her face changed completely. Relief, shock, emotion. Beta. I rushed to her. hugged her tightly, and for a moment, neither of us said anything. Because sometimes, there are no words for what you feel. After a while, I pulled back and looked at her properly. She looked smaller. Not physically, but emotionally, like something had been taken from her. "Why are you here?" I asked gently. She avoided my eyes. "Your brother said it would be better." Better for who? Silence. That told me everything I needed to know. Over the next hour, I got pieces of the story, not all of it, because she kept protecting him, even then, but enough. Apparently, my brother had convinced her that she was becoming a burden, that she needed professional care, that the house was too much to manage. And somehow, she believed him. Or maybe, she just didn't want to fight. "Did a doctor recommend this?" I asked. She shook her head. "No." "Then why here?" She whispered. "He said it's temporary." Temporary. That word again. "Mom, how is he paying for this?" Another pause. He said, "It's handled." That didn't make sense. Because I knew my brother. And handled was not something he usually did. After I left her room, I went straight back to the front desk. I asked about her admission, and what I learned next made my blood boil. The nursing home wasn't cheap. In fact, it was very expensive, and the payments, they were being made from her account, her savings, everything she had built over the years, gone, slowly draining, while she sat in that room thinking it was all for her own good. And my brother, still living in her house, rent-free. At that point, I knew this wasn't just bad judgment. This was something else. I left the facility and went straight to the house. Walking up to it felt strange. It looked the same on the outside. Same gate, same walls, same quiet street. But it didn't feel like home anymore. I knocked on the door, no answer. I knocked again. Still nothing. Then I tried the handle. Unlocked. I stepped inside, and what I saw made everything worse. The house was a mess. Not just cluttered, but neglected. Dishes piled up. Trash overflowing. Furniture out of place. This wasn't how my mom lived. This was how someone lives when they don't care. "Hello." I called out. Footsteps. And then my brother appeared. He looked surprised. "Hey. What are you doing here?" I stared at him. "What am I doing here?" "That's what you're asking me?" He shrugged. "You could have called." "I did." "You didn't answer." He rolled his eyes. "I've been busy." Busy. I took a deep breath, trying to control myself. "Why is Mom in a nursing home?" He sighed like I was the one being difficult. "Because she needs care." "No, she doesn't. You don't know that. You're never here." That hit, but I didn't let it distract me. I was here enough to know she was fine. She wasn't. He snapped. She was forgetting things. Struggling. "Did a doctor say that?" He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "So you decided on your own?" "I'm the one living with her," he said defensively. "I see things you don't. And you thought the solution was to send her away. It's temporary." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was unbelievable. "You keep saying that. But you moved her out, put her in a place she didn't choose, and now you're living here alone." He crossed his arms. "What are you implying?" "I'm not implying anything. I'm asking why. Are you still here?" "It's my house too." "No, it's not." Silence. "It's her house," I continued. "And she's not even in it. She agreed to this." "No, she didn't. She trusted you." That's when his tone changed. "You think you're better than me because you send money? Because you live in a different city?" "This isn't about me." "Yeah, it is. You left." "I stayed." "And what did you do with that?" I asked quietly. That question lingered because deep down, we both knew the answer. Over the next few days, I started digging deeper. I spoke to the nursing home staff. I checked financial records. I talked to neighbors. A pattern started to emerge. My brother hadn't just suggested the nursing home, he had orchestrated everything. He handled the paperwork. He managed the finances. He made the decisions. And he made sure Mom didn't question any of it. because she trusted him, because he was her son. But trust can be misused, and in this case, it was. I confronted him again, this time with everything I had learned. You've been using her money, I said, for her care, for your comfort, I corrected. You're living in her house, spending her savings, and calling it care? That's not fair. No. What's not fair is that she's sitting in a room, thinking she's a burden while you enjoy everything she built. He didn't respond, because there was nothing left to say. That's when I made a decision. I wasn't going to argue anymore. I was going to act. I contacted a lawyer. I started the process to review her financial control. I arranged for a medical evaluation. And most importantly, I brought her home. The day I took her out of that nursing home, I'll never forget it. She looked confused at first. Are we visiting? She asked. I smiled. No, Mom, we're leaving. Leaving? Yes, you're coming home. Tears filled her eyes. Really? Really? That moment, it wasn't just about a place. It was about dignity, about choice, about giving her back what was taken. When we walked into the house together, she looked around slowly, taking it all in. This is my home, she whispered. Yes, I said. It always was. My brother wasn't there that day, and honestly, I didn't care. Because for the first time in weeks, things felt right again. But that didn't mean everything was fixed. There were still consequences, legal ones, emotional ones, and family ones, because sometimes the hardest part isn't what strangers do to you, it's what family is capable of. In the weeks that followed, I stayed with her. We cleaned the house. We rebuilt routines. We truly talked for the first time in a long time. And slowly, she started to feel like herself again. As for my brother, we're not the same anymore, and maybe we never will be, because some actions, they don't just hurt. They change how you see someone forever. But if there's one thing this experience taught me, it's this. Silence allows things to happen. Questions matter. And sometimes you have to step in, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's messy, even when it means confronting the people you never thought you would. Because the people who raised you, who gave you everything, they deserve more than convenience. They deserve respect. They deserve honesty. They deserve to feel like they still matter. So if you're watching this, and something feels off in your family, don't ignore it. Ask questions. Check in. Be present. Because sometimes, the truth is hidden behind the words, "It's fine." And by the time you realize it isn't, it might be too late. After bringing Mom back home, I thought the hardest part was over. I was wrong, because fixing what's visible is always easier than dealing with what's underneath. At first, everything felt almost peaceful. Too peaceful, actually. Like the calm after a storm that hasn't fully passed yet. Mom would sit in her usual chair by the window, holding her tea the way she always did, watching the street like she used to. But there was something different. She was quieter. Not in a calm way, but in a careful way, like she was afraid to say the wrong thing. "Mom," I asked one evening, "are you okay?" She smiled softly. "Yes, Beta, I'm home." But that wasn't really an answer. I sat across from her. "You can tell me if something's bothering you." She hesitated. Then she said something that stayed with me. "I don't want to cause problems between you and your brother." There it was. Even after everything, she was still protecting him. I leaned forward. "You're not causing anything. He made his choices. This isn't on you." She looked down at her hands. He said, "I was becoming difficult." That hit harder than I expected. Difficult. I repeated. She nodded slightly. He said I forgot things. That I repeated myself. That I was slowing him down. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. "Mom, everyone forgets things sometimes. That doesn't mean you should be sent away." She looked at me, uncertain. But what if he's right? That question, that doubt, It showed me just how much his words had affected her. Because when someone you trust tells you something enough times, you start to believe it, even if it's not true. Over the next few days, I arranged for a proper medical checkup, not because I believed my brother, but because I wanted clarity, I wanted facts. The doctor was thorough. Tests, evaluations, long conversations. And in the end, there was no serious condition, no reason for a nursing home, no justification for what had been done, just normal aging, the kind that comes with time, not with neglect. When I told Mom, she looked relieved, but also confused. So, I'm okay. Yes, I said gently. You're okay. She let out a long breath, and for the first time since I'd seen her, she smiled without hesitation. But while things were improving for her, they were getting more complicated elsewhere, because my brother finally came back. I was in the kitchen when I heard the door open. Footsteps, then his voice, "You're still here." I turned slowly. "Yes, I am." He looked around the house like he was assessing something. "You didn't have to move in." "I didn't move in," I said calmly. "I'm taking care of Mom." She was being taken care of. "No," I said firmly. "She wasn't." Mom stepped into the hallway then, and for a brief moment, everything went quiet. He looked at her, she looked at him, and the tension between them. It was impossible to ignore. "Mom," he said, forcing a smile. "You're back early." Early, like it was a planned vacation. She didn't respond right away. "I'm home," she said finally. He nodded, but his expression tightened. "Yeah. Temporarily," that word again. I stepped forward. "No, not temporarily. Permanently," he scoffed. "We'll see." "No," I said, holding his gaze. "We already saw. And it's over." His tone changed immediately. "You don't get to make that decision. I'm not making it. She is." We both looked at Mom. For a second. She seemed unsure. Then, she spoke. "I want to stay here." It wasn't loud, it wasn't forceful, but it was clear, and that was enough. My brother exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "You don't understand what it's like," he said. "Taking care of everything. Dealing with everything." "Then you should have asked for help," I replied. "Not removed her from her own home." "I did what I thought was best." "For who?" I asked. He didn't answer. Because again, he didn't have one. That night, the house felt divided. Same roof, different worlds. He stayed in his room, we stayed in ours, and no one spoke. But silence doesn't solve anything. It just delays what's coming. The next morning, I found him in the living room. "You can't just take over like this," he said without looking at me. "I'm not taking over. I'm stepping in where you crossed a line." "I didn't cross anything." "You put Mom in a nursing home without medical reason, used her money to pay for it, and stayed here like nothing changed." "It wasn't like that." "Then explain it to me," I said. He finally looked at me, and for the first time, there was something different in his eyes. Not anger, not defensiveness, something else. "Pressure." "You don't get it," he said quietly. I was drowning. That caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" "I had bills, debt, no stable job. And she kept asking for things, needing things. I couldn't handle it. So you sent her away." "I needed space." "At her expense." "I thought it would be temporary," he said again, but this time, it sounded less convincing. I shook my head. "You didn't just need space. You needed control. And this gave you that." "That's not fair." "No," I said. "What's not fair is that instead of asking for help, you made her feel like a burden." He didn't respond, because deep down, he knew. Days passed like that. Tense, uncomfortable, unresolved, but things started to shift. Slowly, Mom became more confident. She started speaking up more. She started making her own decisions again. And with that, the balance in the house began to change. One evening, she called both of us into the living room. "I want to say something," she said. We sat down, and I could tell This wasn't going to be easy for her. I trusted you, she said. Looking at my brother, he lowered his eyes. I believed you when you said I needed help. She paused. But I never wanted to leave my home. Silence. I should have said something sooner, she continued. But I didn't want to create conflict. She looked at me then, and you. Thank you for coming. I shook my head. You don't have to thank me, Mom. I do, she said softly. Because you listened. Then she turned back to my brother. I'm not angry, she said, and that surprised both of us. But I am hurt. He swallowed hard. I didn't mean to hurt you. I know, she replied. But intentions don't erase actions. That line, it stayed in the air. Heavy. Real. And things have to change, she added. He nodded slowly. I understand, but understanding doesn't always mean change happens immediately. Because habits, patterns, and mindsets, they take time to break. Over the next few weeks, we started setting boundaries. Clear ones. Financial access was limited. Decisions required. Discussion responsibilities were shared. And slowly, the house started to feel like a home again. Not perfect, but honest. As for my brother, he struggled at first. Adjusting to limits. To accountability. To not being in control. But something shifted in him too. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was reality finally catching up. Or maybe it was seeing Mom stand up for herself. One night, he came to me. I messed up. He said I didn't respond right away. I really thought I was doing what was best, he continued. But I see now. I wasn't thinking about her. I was thinking about escaping my own problems. That was the first time he admitted it. Not defensively, not indirectly, but honestly. That doesn't fix it, I said. I know, he replied. But I want to try. I looked at him for a long moment. Then start with actions, I said. Not words. And for once, he didn't argue, he just nodded. This story doesn't have a perfect ending, because real life rarely does. There are still difficult days. Still moments of tension. Still things we're working through. But there's also something else now. Awareness. Effort. And a chance to rebuild. Because sometimes people don't realize the damage they're causing until it's too late. And sometimes, if you're willing to face it, you can still make things right. Not erase the past, but learn from it, grow from it, and do better. If there's one thing I want you to take from this story, it's this: pay attention, not just to what people say, but to what they do. Check on the people who matter, even when everything seems fine. Because sometimes, the biggest problems are hidden behind silence, and the people who need you the most are the ones who won't ask. This is Storyova, where stories aren't just told, they're felt. And if this one meant something to you, don't forget to share it, because you never know who might need to hear it today.
That's all for today's story. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. This is Storyova, where your story matters. And I'll see you in the next one.